Hello everyone and welcome back to GR Games. I know I haven't posted a review in quite a long time, but I was busy setting up streaming and everything else. But now I will start posting more on YouTube again. I also changed my name to better suit the content that I am trying to push out. Before I start the review, I would like to mention that I have a Twitch channel now, and if you're feeling bored, just stop by whenever you feel like. Link in the description below. Also, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more content like this. Anyways, with all of that out of the way, please stick around and hear my opinion about the Simpsons Hit and Run. I'll start off with the main plot. So the main plot centers around the Simpsons family and how it is about how aliens are using Springfield as basically as an entertainment center for their TV program. This TV program is for intergalactic TV and is meant to be a comedy about humans and their stupidity. The first part of the game just starts off as a tutorial and then it slowly leads up to the peak of the story. There's not much to this story, but it's a lot like a regular Simpsons TV episode. This could easily be a Treehouse of Horrors plotline. Bart gets kidnapped by aliens, Lisa tries to figure out what's going on, and then they have to figure out how to help Bart after he comes back with his brains being scrambled. Then zombies come out of their graves on Halloween and take over Springfield, and it's up to Homer to save Springfield. To me, this is a classic Simpsons, and I really like that they were able to put this into a video game format. One thing that I do have a complaint about, it's not necessarily a complaint but a nitpick, is not about the story itself, but the continuity of it. I really wish they connected this to the main Simpsons TV show continuity. This game feels separate from the TV show, and I would have found it really cool if this had a connection to the TV show. I feel like if they made direct references to the video game, then it would have added more to the video game than it did in the first place. Otherwise, the story was pretty simple and easy to follow. I will now tell you about all the content that is within this game. There are these things called gags that are hidden all over each level. These gags include references from episodes of The Simpsons that had a major role in some of their TV episodes. Some of these gags include knocking down the swing, or the tiki flamethrower face thingy that was shown in one of the TV episodes. I really like this because it calls back to the episodes that people really liked, and you get to actually interact with that object within a video game. Another aspect are the Wasp Cameras. Wasp Cameras are in every level of the game and are the only hostiles within this game. With each level, the wasps get harder and harder to destroy. Throughout the game, the wasps get faster, shoot more electrical bolts, and even get shields. Every time you destroy a wasp, the wasp will drop coins. Usually when you find a wasp, you also find coin boxes. These boxes contain, as you guessed it, coins. You can get a lot of coins out of these boxes and can be your primary source of coins. With the coins, you can buy vehicles. There are tons of vehicles in this game, and all of them have been featured in an episode of The Simpsons. You can also buy different types of clothing. Same as the vehicles, all these clothing types have been in an episode or another. Collector cards are another aspect of this game. Collector cards are cards that are scattered throughout each level. There are a total of 7 per level. Each card gives the plot of some of our favorite episodes in the TV series. When you collect all of these cards in a level, you unlock a track within the bonus game. A major part of this game is the platforming. Like Super Mario, Crash Bandicoot, and Conker, you have to jump on platforms to get to your destinations. For the most part, it's really easy, but sometimes it can get pretty difficult, especially when the platforms are moving. For me, I found that the most difficult part of the platforming is when the camera decides to move by itself. When you are stationary, you can freely move the camera, but when you are platforming, the camera moves by itself, and that can get really annoying. In each level, there is also a secret vehicle. These can be hard to find, but they are very unique, but be warned, they can be fast and easily destroyed. There are also races within this game as well. There are 3 types of races: the time trial, a normal race, and a 1-lap race. The time trial is where you race against the clock and finish the race before time runs out. The second type of race is like any normal race. You have 3 laps and must be in first place to win the race. The third race is only 1 lap. In this race, you are placed at one end of the map and have to race to the other side of the map. I noticed that these races are more difficult than the other types. And for the final race, there is also a wager race. A wager race is where you basically place a bet on whether or not you will complete a race in time or not. In theory, this is a really good idea, but it needs to be implemented well, and in this game, it was not. Let me explain. When you do the race, there are difficulties as is with everything else, but here, it is always set on easy, and the only way to change the difficulty is by switching to a slower vehicle. In no way did the game tell you this. You have to figure it out yourself. I would have rather it been that when you do the race once, the difficulty goes up by another level, but for some reason they did not do that. There is also a level progress screen where you can see how much of the level you have completed. You can see how many collector cards you have, how many wasps you have destroyed, and many other things. This can be helpful because if you have not completed 100% of a level, you can easily find what you need to do in order for you to get to 100% completion. The missions in this game are pretty straightforward. The main type of missions that you have to do are that you have to race someone to a destination, pick up things, or destroy another vehicle. The game is pretty easy, but some missions can get pretty hard. But the thing that I like is that if you fail the mission too many times, you can actually skip the mission, which is a nice addition. There is also a bonus game, where you have 7 different tracks, and you can play as any of the main characters that you played as in the regular game. The only way to unlock these tracks is by collecting all of the collection cards in each level. This bonus game was obviously meant for local multiplayer, which is great. The only problem that I have with the bonus game is the camera angle. The camera angle is above the track, and it is really hard to control the vehicles, because you see one thing, and the controls are different from what you are seeing. Now it's time for story time. So, after I finished the game, I thought I was done, but then I realized that I have not bought all of the clothes or vehicles. So I go back to buy everything I need to, so then I can get 100% of the game finished. I had one problem though. I did not have enough coins for that stuff. So I went back to the other levels and could not find any more coins. So I figured that I can go back to the 7th level and do more wager races because the payout was the best on level 7. I did the math, and I would have to do that 90 times on easy to get enough coins for everything. After seeing how many times I would have to do that race, I decided to Google what to do, and the only way to get enough coins was to cheat. Now, I understand that some people wouldn't care about cheating, especially because it doesn't matter on like the PS2, PC, or Xbox. But like me, some people want to 100% the game, because it actually feels good to complete a game without cheating. It's just weird why that is. On the PC version of this game, you can add mods. They are simple mods, but they can make the game easier to play. For instance, you can turn on Never Busted, which means that even when being chased by the cops, you will never get busted. The other mods can help with changing the resolution and the frame rate, which means that this game can be played at 60 FPS. You can even make the game run in 4K. The cheats that are in this game are a lot of fun. Some of the cheats that I used were unlimited speed and fast acceleration. As you can see in the clip that I'm showing you now, you can cause a lot of damage with these 2 cheats, and it just made the game a lot more fun without having to do any more missions. The other cheats, in my opinion, aren't that great, but they could be useful for some people. Some of the cheats include car horn jump, where you can jump in the air by pressing the horn button. Another useful cheat can be unlocking all cars if you're unable to unlock any other cars because you don't have enough coins. So while doing research on the Simpsons Hit and Run on the mods that I could use, I found one called the Fully Connected Map mod. What this mod does is that it connects every single map together into one. As you can see here, I have shown a clip of some of the places you can go in this connected map, which is to the other levels. And I'm also going to show you a map that I made all myself to show you how the map is situated. I really like this mod simply because I feel like this game was meant to be this big in the first place. I feel like if there was going to be a remaster of this game, that this map would have had a lot of influence on the remaster. If you are interested in this map, I will link the video down below as well as the link to the download. Fair warning though that the fully connected map only works on level 1, and no other level will work. I'm sure that the creator of this mod is constantly trying to update the game so we can play on all levels. So if you want to make sure that this mod works, start with level 1 first. Level 2, 3, and 5 will not load in properly. I have no idea why, but it just won't load in. I just wanted to mention this mod because it's just such a cool mod that probably took a lot of time. So check it out if you're interested. So the driving for this game is pretty well done, but for some of the vehicles it can be quite challenging to get around each level. With Homer's car in the first level, I was very surprised at how hard it was to control the vehicle. I'm not complaining about the fact that it was hard to control, but I'm complaining about the fact that they gave you such a hard vehicle to control on level 1, which was basically a tutorial level. Some of the other cars are what you would expect. The bigger vehicles are slower and the smaller vehicles are faster, just basic attributes of a car or vehicle. Now I will talk about the gameplay aspect of the game. There is a lot to go through, so here we go. When you pick up a car in this game, or order one from the phone booth, you will see that there are statistics on the right side of the screen. The attributes of a vehicle will tell you the speed, acceleration, toughness, and handling of said vehicle. These statistics can help you strategically choose a vehicle that you would like to use for this specific mission. To be honest, I never found myself looking at the statistics of a vehicle. I just chose whatever vehicle I thought looked good. I also never chose the slower vehicles because I really like traveling around each level fast, and I just didn't have the patience to use the slower vehicles. The only reason why I used the slower vehicle was so then during the wager races, I could have more winnings after winning the race. You can basically finish an entire level with the base car that you were given when you first entered that level. The variety in vehicles is great, but the variety in the handling and speed of vehicles is really all over the place. Some of the races can be very hard. Actually, a lot of the races are harder than the missions themselves. Once you hit level 4, the levels can actually get pretty hard race-wise. I remember doing a race where I had to race against Professor Frink, and that race took me about 45 minutes to complete, just because it was so hard to beat him. I finally figured out that I would need a faster vehicle to beat him, and I beat him first try once I switched vehicles. This seems to be the only time that I ever needed to switch vehicles to complete a level. So if you're doing a race, I highly suggest that you pick up the fastest vehicle you can find and race with that instead of using the base vehicle, because 8 out of 10 times you will need a different vehicle. So I'm starting this new thing on my reviews where I talk about the artificial intelligence within a video game. As you know, there are NPCs in a video game, and these NPCs are usually controlled by an AI. Without AI, the NPCs would not be very realistic and seem very dull, like Cyberpunk. The AI for the NPCs that are just walking around and stuff was actually really well done, so I will commend them for that, but I have to talk about the racing again. So right now I have a background video which shows me doing a race in level 3. I chose this race specifically because this was one of the hardest races for me, and I noticed a lot of patterns in the way the NPCs were driving. As you can tell, Marge is in first place, and there are 2 other vehicles behind her, and then there's me. So when I turn left onto the actual port right in front of the sea spanker, that car in front of me always does a little drift. Every single race that car does a drift. After the first couple races, I noticed the pattern and I learned how to avoid that. I then realized that there are garbage cans all around the area, and Marge would always hit the garbage cans no matter what. There's also a turn where Marge will spin out, and I have tested it multiple times, and that car will spin out every single time without fail in that same place. I'm not saying that the pre-planned patterns were bad per se, but they could have been a lot more elaborate in hiding it. Again, I understand that this game is from 2003, and we all have different views on video games nowadays, but they could have had 2 or 3 more patterns just to make it more exciting each race. The other problem that I had with the AI was that when you hit the NPC vehicles, they would just push you aside and they barely slowed down in speed. When they hit me, I lose control and lose valuable seconds in a race. I did some more testing and tried to disorient the other NPC vehicles. I have to say that I was very surprised that yes, I was able to disorient the NPC vehicles, soon to realize that they always managed to keep up the same speed, and as soon as I crashed them, they would sit there for a few seconds, and then suddenly they would be right back at the same speed. It seems like they really did try to add variety in the crashing and stuff, but to me it didn't seem like enough. But I also need to remember this game was from 2003. I do realize that this game is very old, so I realize that the artificial intelligence and all of that was not the best, but it was pretty damn good for its time. I'm overall very impressed with how well the NPCs were handled in this game. So this is the part of the review where I tell you what I did and did not like about a video game. I won't go over everything as I have already done that, so I'll just tell you the stuff that popped out for me. I really like the fact that there are so many variety of vehicles and references to the Simpsons show. I really like the idea of having the collector cards in each world, as it gives you more of a background to certain TV episodes that you really like. A collector card will show you an object, and it'll explain why that object was important, and in what episode it was in, and it'll even give you a quote from that TV episode, which is a nice touch. I also really like the amount of vehicles in this game, because there are so many vehicles in the Simpsons universe that you forget a lot of them. So you see a vehicle and then you remember, oh yeah, this vehicle is from this episode and it belongs to this person. I just really like the little details within this game that just add more to the story itself and the open world feeling. My one major complaint about this game are the level designs. This one's hard to explain, but the level design was fine, but it was the amount of stuff that was in each level that was the issue for me. Again, I have to say that this game is pretty old, so I understand that they weren't able to make the largest worlds in a video game, but this is more of a thing I wish they could have had in this game. So what I mean about the amount of levels is just the amount of maps that they have in this game. They only have 3 maps, which is very disappointing. I do like the fact though that they tried to add different variety to each level, like changing the time of day, and what I really wish they had was just 3 more levels and a day and night cycle. I would have also really liked it if all of those maps were connected to each other. I know that is quite the task, especially for what it was built for, which was the PS2, original Xbox, and the PC, which weren't the most powerful things on earth at the time. But if they were ever to do a remaster of the game, they should add more stuff like a day and night cycle, more maps, and to have the whole map connected into one. Also, having a more dense Springfield would have been even cooler as well, so then they can add more iconic locations that we all know and love from the TV series. I usually don't talk about replayability anymore, but I would have to say this is not the first time that I've played this game all the way through. So if you're worried about the replayability of this game, then don't worry about it. You should be fine. The only issue that I had is once you go through, let's say, level 1 once, then that's it. There's nothing else to really see. So then you would have to restart the entire game just to have everything reset, which is very disappointing to me. Overall, this game was a lot of fun. I mainly play this game again just for the nostalgia. I remember when I was a little kid going to my PlayStation 2 and playing the Simpsons Hit and Run. It was one of the only games that I had at the time, and I would play the game non-stop. I'm sure a lot of you that are watching this review right now also had the same feeling with this game, that there's just something to it that makes it so good. I don't know if it's the simplicity of the game, or just going back to the times where game developers cared more about what they put in the world and story more than microtransactions and multiplayer. This game came out in a simpler time, and I wish we could have more games like this. So if anybody is thinking of remastering this game, just do it, because everybody would love it. Are there some issues with this game? Yes. But in my opinion, these issues just were not fixable, as the hardware back then was not compatible with such large worlds and graphics that we have nowadays. So if they ever have a remaster, I guarantee you it'll be the perfect Simpsons game. So with all of that out of the way, I would like to thank you for watching this review. It was a lot of fun streaming this game, and I got a lot more followers than expected playing this. The next game that I will play is the Simpsons game, and I'm very excited to play that. Anyways, I will be streaming that game on my Twitch on twitch.tv/gamerreviews. Link in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching. See you in the next video. Have a good day, everyone.
At least our show was a success.
Why did we go to Earth Heaven when we died?
At least we don't have to sit through the stupid video game credits. No!